Hello again, and welcome to Marketing with Purpose. My name is Monica Pitts, and today we are going behind the scenes and we're going to talk about how we plan the marketing for our $1 million fundraising campaign. Now, I call it ours, but really it's our communities, and it's ran by our community foundation. And what it is, well, we call it CoMoGives, and it supports 138 local nonprofits. And last year we raised over $950,000 for them over the month of December. Once again, I say we, I mean, like really they raised it for themselves. The things that May Create does for it is we put on a training workshop where we teach them any marketing trick that we think will help them through the campaign. And then we also do all of the auxiliary marketing for the campaign. So we set up all the social media posts, we do the website, we support the website, and we do any Facebook ads, we send emails on behalf of the campaign. So we have a pretty fully featured marketing plan that we run just for this one campaign. So in this podcast, we are going to go from January to December, or actually like December to December. That's what we're really going to do, because it kicks off in December and then we wrap it up in December, right? And take you through all the steps that we do throughout the year to plan and run this campaign. Now, with me today, I'm going to have the marvelous Erika Payne, because Erika is the project manager for this project. And if you don't have a project manager to help you through your marketing, man, you should definitely put that on your bucket list, because these are magical creatures that make sure that everything gets done, it gets done on time, and it gets done right. They're pretty amazing. It's like that was the first person that I hired in my company as a project manager, because I'm a creative human that does big picture things, and I knew I needed somebody to keep track of all the details. Now, the reason that we're going to dig into this topic is because every year when we kick off our workshop for CoMoGives, we have people that are like, oh yeah, so I'm just going to start posting in December. I'm just going to start sending emails in December. And the thing is, to really run a successful fundraising campaign, you have to work on it all year long. It's not just something that you pick up in December. And that's for a number of reasons, really. One reason is because you have to make relationships with people all year long. If you only called your best friend when you needed to borrow sugar, eventually they would pick up the phone and be like, so you want to borrow the sugar again, right? And we don't want our donors to ever feel like that. We want them to feel involved in our nonprofits. We want them to feel appreciated and to understand that the things that they do help us fulfill our mission. And so your campaign doesn't just start in December, right? It's all year long where you're developing that relationship with your donors. And then there's the other piece of it too, where you're developing a relationship with Facebook, for example. You can't just start posting on Facebook and expect thousands of people to see it, because you have to build your audience first. And you also have to develop a relationship with that audience. I don't want to elude people into thinking that you can just start and run $1 million fundraising campaign. You need to start your planning well ahead of time to be able to achieve that goal, because it's a big goal. And it's one that I hope that everyone can reach eventually in your nonprofit. And so right now, we're going to let you know how we achieve that goal. Let's get to business. You're on a mission, and you just need more people to know about it. And whether you're brand new to marketing or a seasoned pro, we are all looking for answers to make marketing decisions with purpose. I'm Monica Pitts, a techie, crafty business owner, mom, and aerial dancer who solves communication challenges through technology. This podcast is all about digging in and going digital. I'll share my marketing know-how and business experience from almost 20 years of misadventures. I'll be your backup dancer so you can stop doubting and get moving towards marketing with purpose. So now, before I have Erika introduce herself and explain her role in this project and how this all works and flows together, I feel like I would be doing you a disservice by not mentioning to you a very fun resource. Well, I guess you can call it fun if you think planning your marketing is fun, on maycreate.com. About, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I gave a talk and I explained how to make a marketing plan. And then after that talk, when I was sitting down to do my own marketing plan, for some reason I felt really out of control. And I thought, oh my gosh, these are just so many things. I'm not sure where to start. And then I thought, man, I really wish I had a workbook for this. And then I thought, you do have a workbook for this, you silly girl. You just made one for your talk. And so I took out that workbook and I published it on our website for you to download. So that way, when you're planning your own marketing for your nonprofit, you can use that same workbook to help guide you through the steps so you can confidently plan your marketing with purpose. All right. Now, I want to bring in Erika and have her introduce herself and tell us her role in the project. So, Erika, take it away.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Erika. This will be my 4th year project managing for CoMoGives. So I've definitely, gotten my feet wet with this. And my role in this is really, like Monica said, I am the details person. So I am the person that plans everything. I'm always trying to think a few steps ahead of the process to make sure that the wheel kind of keeps turning. I schedule everything out. I make sure that everything's getting done on time and it's getting done right. I'm also the go-between between May Create and people that run CoMoGives, like John Baker, or sometimes the organizations that are involved in CoMoGives. So I kind of get that really nice outside perspective that I bring into CoMoGives as well, or to May Create. But yeah, I'm kind of the person behind the scenes that just makes sure that everything keeps going.
You're like the glue holding us all together.
I like that.
Well, there's so many people involved in making this campaign a success, from the peer-to-peer fundraisers to the organizations, John, yourself, the online marketers, our web developers. There's just a lot of people that need a centralized spot to communicate, and you provide that for them.
Yes, for sure. And there's a lot of different moving pieces, especially as we get closer and closer to the campaign.
So we're going to start explaining how we plan all this marketing by starting in December.
Mm-hmm.
And Erika thought up a marvelous system for us, which is so simple. It's stupid, but it's so awesome. Like,
it was a game changer.
it was. So Erika, tell everybody what we do during the month of December while we're running our campaign.
Yeah. So a few years ago, we were running our campaign, and you never really know what things you can improve on or what needs to change until you're in the process, right? So we were figuring out those things, but we weren't really tracking them very well, and so we weren't recording them for the next year. So we came up with the idea that we have this working document of things to improve, and we just start making a list of things, because a lot of the things that we run into during the campaign aren't necessarily items that we can update right now. So we have to remember them for the future. So we have this running list of what can we improve on, what went wrong, things to think through for next year. And everyone has access to this list on the May Create team and John Baker. So we all go in and we just add things as the process goes along.
It's not that we don't want to update them. It's that we also don't want to break the website on accident.
Yeah, we have to weigh our options on that one.
Yeah, when you have I don't know, thousands of dollars coming in, you don't want to break that sucker. Keep it on the list.
I get the chills just thinking about it.
And then after we wrap up the campaign, we kind of roll into this review period, I would call it. So we spend 2 months in the review period, January and February. They're not nearly as CoMoGives busy, I would say, except for in social media. We'd make a lot of social media posts in January and February for sure. So after the campaign finishes, we review the document and all the data, and we do it quickly. So it's not lost in translation. And then we brainstorm how to improve on the pain point areas. And one of the things that I like to look at most quickly is all of that marketing data, all the analytics coming from the website, what Facebook is telling me, all that data. Because at that point, I still do remember where we shifted, what we did, why it might look the way that it looks. And if I left it for 6 months, it would be harder for me to remember those details.
Yeah, for sure.
And then this year we actually did a donor survey, which was really helpful. And it helped us better understand how people found the website and why they did what they did. So that should happen as soon after the campaign finishes as possible. Otherwise, the same thing happens for those donors. They don't remember. They're just going to
Mhm.
make something up. Really, humans.
Yeah, right. And it's so helpful for us too, because, we don't really get that genuine feedback otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a guessing game for us.
And we do hear, though, from our organizations.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So every year around January, February, we have a recap and all the organizations come together. John usually provides some kind of breakfast snacks and he shares the numbers with everyone. And then that's a point, though, where the organizations get to tell us what they liked and what they would like to see improved with the campaign. And that is one of the most helpful meetings for us because we really get to hear from them what was working and what wasn't. And so we take rigorous notes at this meeting and we go back and we add it to our list of things that we would want to improve on.
And I definitely feel like there's things that we want to improve on that maybe we couldn't this year because of budget constraints or time constraints. And I always just, when I sit in that meeting, I just try to keep an open mind because it's not like, you're never going to do it perfect. If you thought you were doing it perfect, then you probably shouldn't be doing it at all because everything is a growth experience, right, friends? So it does sometimes hurt your heart because you're like, I really wanted to make that right for you this year, and it wasn't right for you, when they are talking about the things they want us to change. But I do feel like they do know that we listen to them and that we do take their considerations to heart because we implement so many of the things they ask for because they're
Mhm.
great ideas.
Right. Yeah. And if there's something that they talk about or ask about that really isn't doable, then there's usually a conversation around that. It's not just something that kind of gets blown in the wayside.
Yeah, we don't want them to think that we just didn't hear them.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that we do is between January and February, we reconcile the previous year's numbers. So we export all of the data from the website. And I'm not the person that combs through it. I've had to in the past, and I am not a numbers lady. So we now have our numbers ladies go through that data with John, and they together decide on all the challenge grants. So what challenge grants are is we have competitions, for lack of a better word, challenges maybe, in between the participants that allow them to earn more money from the community foundation. So the community foundation, how many are they doing this year? Do you know? I can't remember.
It's pretty close to the same amount, maybe 140. Yeah, I can't remember.
You mean $140,000?
Oh,
No.
sorry. I was thinking organizations.
No,
Sorry.
I meant like the number of challenge grants. Okay, so I'm going to give you
Oh,
guys
no, I don't know.
examples of challenge grants. So for example, new organizations come into the campaign and the first year is usually their toughest year. So for the first year organizations, they all compete against each other for most money raised. And the one that raises the most money would get a $2,000 challenge grant. So they would earn another $2,000. And then there's also a second place as well. And then another one that we do is nonprofits without premiums. So people who are just raising money and they're not offering a membership or a t-shirt or anything like that. We have most peer-to-peer funds raised.
Mhm.
And I also love the one that we put in a few years ago that was all volunteer organizations, because our all volunteer organizations felt like, and rightfully so, it was really difficult for them to compete for the challenge grants against the organizations that are closer to like medium sized businesses than small all volunteer run organizations, right? So we also give a challenge grant to them, and those organizations compete against one another, and the one who raises the most money gets, $2,000 also. That's
Mhm.
pretty cool. And we make all those decisions between January and February.
Yep.
So after we wrap up that review period, then we kind of make our plans. This is where we're in our planning phase.
For
So
sure.
March through May, we have lots of meetings.
That's totally true. For the website side, it's like so in January, February, we were talking about the pain points. But now in March and May, we get to think big picture, we get to think creatively. What do we want to change that would make the experience better, maybe a little more fun? And so we kind of get to have fun with these brainstorming meetings with our team and John, and we really get to nail down our plan for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And they make
Yeah.
a scope of work and then schedule it all out, really.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
goes onto the calendar to make sure it happens. And
Absolutely.
from the online marketing side, we do the same thing. We look through and figure out what worked and what didn't, and brainstorm ways to improve and market. And we did the initial legwork back in January and February for that task, but then we sit down once we've had some room to breathe and we're maybe not so emotionally tied to the things that we did last year and figure out, okay, so really, what do we want to do? We
Yeah.
also pitch all those ideas to John because John is the final decision maker for the campaign because he is the executive director at the Community Foundation and it's their campaign. And we also set a new campaign goal for the year.
Yep.
Always makes us a little nervous, but hey, you got to have a goal if you're going to get there. And
Yep.
then we go through and estimate and schedule. And then we create the participant sign up form and we test the crap out of it.
Yeah. So that this is kind of our first step in starting to make improvements to the website. And this is something that we usually, at this point, we have this form pretty well nailed down on. So this is like intaking the organizations for the website. But every year we have something new to add because, we're always improving. And so the important part of that is we test. Almost everyone in this office tests, and then we have someone who doesn't really know much about CoMoGives test, and then we have John test, and then we test it again.
Yeah. Well, and it's really, this is when the campaign starts for the campaign managers, is
Yep.
when we start intaking our participants. And it's pretty cool. We made it so they streamline into the website, which has made updating the website so much easier. And then also, like this year, for example, you guys could use this whenever you are having people sign up for your events. We asked our participants to give us additional information about themselves. So we said, hey, will you give us some more pictures? Would you tell us what you did with your campaign funds last year? So you can do the same thing when you have people sign up for your next event. You can ask them why they're coming to the event, why they support your organization, what they're excited about for the event. And then you can use that as you build energy and momentum through your marketing for the event.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to use those pictures in our social media posts, and we're going to use those words that they give us about what they are doing with those donations as we
Yep.
thank our donors from the year before. And yeah, so use that idea, make it your own. All right, so January and February, those are our review months. March through May, those are our planning months. And then June and July, we really actually start working pretty hard on the campaign, which I know sounds crazy because it doesn't kick off until December. But we are really working hard on working on this campaign June through July. So this year, I was
Mm-hmm.
really excited. I formed a focus group of nonprofits, and I have, I think, 17 that I email regularly and ask for advice and their opinions. And we talk back and forth about how I can improve the training or what they might need from May Create to make this year's campaign a greater success for them. We also start planning our marketing workshop. And that's one of the things that this focus group has been really integral with. I actually, on Thursday, will start recording the videos for our virtual marketing workshop. It will be the first virtual one we've ever held. not sure if that's good or bad, but it's an interesting challenge. I have a lot of empathy for all of you guys out there planning your virtual events right now. And then Erika, you guys on the web design side, you really start working on updating the website.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, so at this point, usually around July-ish is when the registration opens. So, there's usually some things that come from that we just have to keep an eye on. But this is where we really get started working on those updates. And so usually at this point, the developer and I will get together, we'll look at our list of things and we'll prioritize. What's the most important thing that needs to get done now? What's the order we want to do this in? And so we kind of just start there and get to work.
We also do our scheduling for our marketing activities in this time frame. It would feel like we could do it back in March and May, but I feel like we learned so much through the process of the workshop that it's hard to decide exactly how we're going to message the campaign and what we're going to say to market it before we have all that interaction with our nonprofits, because they're the ones that really guide our messaging for the marketing.
Yeah.
And then we have August through September, which these are our heavy work months. Our goal is to have everything done by the end of October, really.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen, we have a small pity party for ourselves. And then we buckle down and get it done, right?
Yeah.
So in August through September, this is when we hold our training workshop for our nonprofits. We teach them everything from how to use the website to get their donor data out to how to market their campaigns and give them ideas for that. And we also start designing our marketing. So our social media, our ads, our emails, they all begin August through September. So we've been working on them already now.
Yep.
And then Erika and her team work on making improvements to the website.
Yeah.
And wrapping all of those up. And then October through November, this is our crunch time. Like I said, our goal is to have it done by the end of October, even though the campaign does not launch until December 1st, because there's so many little things that show up, especially at the end of November when nonprofits are realizing, oh my goodness, our executive director changed since July and we need to change contact information or whatever it is, So we're fielding those requests and making sure that that can happen. So we make sure that we revise and review all of our marketing materials during these months. We continue finishing the improvements to the website. And then we look at the list of improvements and decide if there's any that we're not going to do this year. We might have to move to next year because we don't have enough time to get them finished.
Yes. I mean, no matter how much we plan every year, there's always something that comes up that's unexpected for us. And so, and plus, some updates take longer than expected, or there's something that wasn't planned that all in the middle of this, we're like, oh my gosh, we should add this. And so, things are constantly changing and evolving, and that's just kind of the nature of it all. So it's always really important to have that meeting right now, because the last thing you want to do is have the week before December and be like, oh my gosh, we haven't gotten this one piece done that is actually a must-have for this campaign. So that meeting is really important. So once we have it at a place that we have all the updates ready, I have this annual checklist that I've created that it's like, okay, is the shopping cart ready to go? Is the merchant turned on? There's all these certain things. So we test all of those. We have this dev space that we can test this, which is great. So again, we have everyone in the office test the website. We have John test the website. We have people that aren't very familiar with the inner workings of the website test it. And this part is so important because it was important to test in January, February for the intake of the organizations, but now we're going to have thousands and thousands of people on this website donating. So this testing is super important and takes a lot of time.
Yeah, because I hate to say it, but there's always some strange, unforeseen thing that pops up within the first week of the campaign, sometimes the very first day. Mm-hmm. But the testing helps us do as much as we can to make sure that we catch those things before they happen. And if you're planning a virtual event for your organization right now, this testing step is super, super important.
Yeah.
The only thing that I haven't figured out how to do is how do you test having hundreds of participants in a spot, right? When you don't have hundreds of people to join your meeting. So there's that. I'm not sure how to test that. If you know how to test that, please let me know because that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other thing that we make sure is ready on the website is the hosting. So if you're going to host a big fundraiser on your website and you're going to send thousands of people there, now your website server is not used to that behavior and it may not even be capable of handling that type of traffic. We learned this the hard way on a website years ago, and the server thought the website was being hacked. And so it just took it down. And that was, I want to say it was like 8 years ago that this happened. And we were like, whoa, that is a problem. So we learned from that mistake. And so every year we adjust the hosting space for CoMoGives. Like we will move it quite literally to another server that is capable of handling the type of traffic and interactions that this website's going to have throughout the month of December. It doesn't have it for the rest of the year, so we don't need to pay for that upscale hosting space for all that time. But throughout the month of December, it's really important that the website's running fast and accurately. And if we don't move it, while it won't crash that website because we have it set up to where it won't, it will slow things down to the point where things are just a grinding crawl. And then people can't check out and they can't donate, which is not okay. Not okay. So definitely check your parameters with your hosting company before you launch that fundraising campaign and send thousands of people to your website because it would be real bad if it didn't work at all. Okay, so then we run into December. So all of our testing is done. We're ready to go by the end of, well, I'm going to say it again, by the end of October, but yeah. And I mean, like back to the hosting thing, we even moved that website well before the campaign starts, because if there's a challenge moving the website and it's going to take back and forth with the hosting company, we don't want it to just like be a week before the campaign starts and that's what we're focusing on. No, that should have, I want that to it always makes me nervous. You never know what type of drama you're getting into when you move a website. Never know.
It's always different.
It doesn't matter. You can move 1,000 websites and something could break on every single one of them. Okay. So then in December, Erika, you are part of the campaign kickoff crew. I tend to take my family on vacation over Thanksgiving. And so I miss the first day of the campaign almost every year. And Erika, I think might just hate me a little bit for it, but it doesn't ever make me feel too guilty. So how do we turn on the campaign?
So our programmer is up at midnight turning on the campaign, as am I. So it's like usually 2 or 3 of us up at this point, turning the switch on, and then we're usually the first ones to actually test it. So we're the first ones to make a donation and make sure everything runs okay. And then from there, we kind of just sit and wait for the phone to ring because, see what happens. And we keep a close eye on it and we're constantly looking at it and we're checking to make sure orders are going through and checking anything that we can. And, John is right there as well, checking. And so usually he's the first line of defense. So if something's going on, they're going to contact him and then he lets us know. So I think a really important piece of that first day is just to have time reserved. You don't want to have time scheduled to work on other things and then something happen here and you're not prepared. So we have reserved time for CoMoGives on that first day, just in case something happens and we need us.
Yeah. So don't go on vacation that first day.
Yeah. You got to be there.
But I have been on like an airplane and landed and looked at my phone to like error messages on the server and then just like lighting up the hosting company, like, what is happening? You said that this was going to work. But yeah, good fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And then usually for the marketing, we let that run for about a week before we start adjusting stuff because we want to see what's happening. The first day is a huge day of this month-long giving campaign. And then if Giving Tuesday isn't the first day, then it is also an enormous day for the campaign. And after about a week, we have enough data that we can make some pretty good decisions about what we might change, what we might turn off as far as our ads and other marketing efforts go. I mean, one year, Katie and I really felt like Google Ads was going to be like the coolest thing ever because we just went to training on it and they said that this was going to be amazing. So we thought, okay, we're going to run Google Ads. They didn't work, really didn't work at all. We were just like pouring money into it and getting nothing back. So making sure you have all your tracking working, that is one thing. Like in the first few days of the campaign, we really closely watch what Google Analytics is telling us for our conversions and our donations and what the actual shopping cart is telling us for our conversions and our donations. They're probably never going to be exactly the same, but they should be really, really close. So making sure that they're working is important, because if they are nowhere near each other, then your conversion tracking and your analytics are not set up properly, and then it makes it really difficult throughout the campaign to adjust and make decisions, and afterwards, because you need that data. And then the other thing that we do is before the campaign even starts, I can't say before it starts. After the first day, the first really, really big giving day, now we know what percentage of gifts are usually given that day. So we can benchmark the rest of the campaign based on that day, the second to last day, and the last day of the campaign. I know it sounds nuts, but over the last 7 years, the same percentage of gifts have come in the first day, the second to last day, and the last day. Crazy, right? So then we write on the whiteboard in our office how many dollars in donations we have to get every other day of the campaign to make it happen, right? Yep. And I review all the data daily, and I put it into a spreadsheet that also talks with Google Data Studio to make a chart for John to review every day with us. So we all look at that data every day to see what happened, how many donations were made, how much money was it. So that way we can better understand our marketing activities too. Like we know we send out an email, we should see a good bump, you know? Mm-hmm. So we look at that, and like I said, we don't just put it in a spreadsheet. We put it in a spreadsheet and then we display it in a way that's really easy to understand. It's in a chart. And then throughout the campaign, I mean, really we're answering questions and encouraging people, celebrating successes. Everybody sets a goal that wants to, and as they reach their goal, we make sure that that's out on social media and everybody sees it to congratulate them.
We have that document. Yeah. That document that we talked about at the very beginning, we create that. So we make sure that anything that we need to change next year is documented.
Yep. And then when the campaign ends, there's like just a flurry of texts that go back and forth between our team, like, blah, 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 we're almost to the goal, blah, blah, blah. And just like all night long until midnight, really.
Yeah.
It's fun. And especially on that last day, all of us, and I hope that the nonprofit participants are doing the same thing. Like I'm texting every friend I have and telling them to go to CoMoGives and make a donation, because it's the last day and it has a lot of urgency in it. So that's when I feel like we do our more personal campaigning. While none of us run peer-to-peer campaigns, we are definitely running our own peer-to-peer campaigns, especially the last day, for sure. Last year, I had my whole shopping cart set up and I was getting ready to press checkout because I wanted to be the person that broke $900,000. And then I was like, wait a second, I forgot an organization. And so in the time that I went back to put another org in to give a donation to them, someone else had broken $900,000. Was it you, Erika?
Can't say. I was sitting right next to you, being like, I'll beat you.
Top secret information.
Yeah.
So as you're running your campaign and your events, make sure that the people, your board members, your volunteers, that they know when you need them to make that push for you, when you need them to start asking everyone emailing, texting, making phone calls so you hit that goal. And definitely celebrate your goals along the way. Some of our very best, and it's hard to believe that they're our very best social media posts because We have so many creative ones throughout the month, but some of our very, very best social media posts were the ones where we were like, yay, we hit $100,000. And everybody liked it and shared it and was really excited about it. So make sure that you are benchmarking along the way and telling people this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. So let's just recap really quick what the year looks like for us. January and February, these are review months where we review everything. March through May, this is our big picture months where we start our planning and we brainstorm and make sure that things are ready to roll and start working on.
Mm-hmm.
June through July, this is where we start interfacing with our nonprofits and form our focus group, have the marketing workshop, hear what they have to say, and then plan and schedule all of our marketing activities for the campaign. August through September, we're training our nonprofits and we're also onboarding them to the website. We are working on the website and we are designing our marketing. October through November, this is our crunch time. This is when we need to make sure that everything gets done. We give ourselves a 2-month period here because we want a whole month at the end where we can just service our nonprofits and not worry about our website and marketing. And this is where we test again. And this is when we also look over all those things that we were supposed to get done and ask ourselves, are there things that can wait till next year? What are our highest priority items to get done? And then in December, we run that campaign and we benchmark, we support our nonprofits, and we celebrate our successes, and we make sure that everybody knows what their role is to get those final donations in, especially on the last few days.
Yeah. And I will say too, in December, or actually I guess this is more on January 1st, but we, John comes over and we have beer.
Yes, we do.
We internally celebrate CoMoGives and we made it through and how great it did. And so I think that's important too for your team to internally have that time to celebrate and just kind of, breathe a little bit before it all starts over again.
Yeah, decompress and then also laugh at the things that were like
Yeah.
so crazy that at the moment you were so not able to laugh over. It's like one of the most important parts of any project really is looking back and figuring out what you did right and what you didn't do right. So that way you can make it better in the future. As I mean, once again, no one is ever an expert at running their campaigns, especially because things change so much right now online. From month to month, Google changes things out there and browsers change and people's expectations change. All these things.
Facebook pages.
Yeah, and so just know that it's never going to be the same twice, but that you can learn from the past. So with that, hopefully you can see why it's important to use the full year to plan your huge fundraiser for your organization and how you can fit it all together and also fit it all in, right? Because if we were just trying to do all this stuff in the month of November, it would never get done. And we would be scrambling and really stressed out. So use the whole year to flow through your planning process for your organization's fundraisers. And then also, before I let you go, I have to remind you that you can hop on over to makecreate.com and you can download our nonprofit marketing plan template. And it will help you get all of your ducks in a row creatively and strategically to be able to make a good marketing plan for your nonprofit. It takes that guesswork out of it because it's like a workbook. You just fill in the blanks and move forward. And with that, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to say bye. Say bye, Erika.
See ya.
Yes. Now go forth and market with purpose.